Hello guys, it is I with a pen and some, I don't need this pen actually, but I am holding it, and a piece of paper with stuff on it. So guess what time that means it is? It's time for some stats, woohoo! So yeah, the first third of the year, not third, I'm wishing the world away, the first quarter of the year has gone. We've done the first 3 months and I've got some stats to look at, just for fun, why not? So let's just dive straight in to my first quarter stats video. If you enjoy stats, you're in the right place. If you don't, you're probably gonna hate this video. So, in the first quarter, I read 30 books. Plonk. I think that's a pretty decent amount. I've been pretty, well, it's weird because I have been reading quite a bit, but also throughout the months I've not been reading a lot of the time, if that makes sense. I mean, technically, like 7 of those books are really small World Book Day books, so like this big, so do they count? They do count. Every book counts. But yeah, this whole year so far, I've not really been like in a massive reading mood, even though I've read 30 books. But what happens normally is I read some stuff at the beginning of the month, and then like the middle of the month, there'll be like 2 weeks where I read hardly anything. And then just at the end of the month, I'll just be in a really reading mood, so that's just how I'm going so far. I'm never the sort of person that says, I have to read all the books. If I'm not in a reading mood, I just won't read. I'll read Netflix. I won't read Netflix. Well, sometimes I will, if it's foreign. I watch Netflix, I watch a lot of YouTube. I'll just be chilling. I'll be doing some escape rooms with my fam, you know what I mean? But, I mean, we're 2 minutes into this video and all I've told you is I've read 30 books, so let's move on. It's a pretty decent number. I'm not reading a lot, but I am at the same time. That's a win. So, next up, I have read, within those 30 books, 7,293 pages. So, I don't really know what that means in terms of anything, but it's a stat, so I've written it. I'm gonna guess, I think I did actually look, but then I forgot what it was, but I think it's like averages at like 230 pages per book or something like that, but that doesn't really mean anything because like I've been reading those books. Some of those World Book Days books were like 51 pages, 72, and then I've also read like The First to Die at the End, which is quite a chunky book, so, but that's how many pages I've read. It doesn't really mean anything, but that's not what we're here for meaning, we're just here for numbers because it's fun. So next up, in terms of age range, I've read 8 adult, 8 middle grade and 14 YA books. So, again, the middle grade, 7 of those 8 middle grades were World Book Day books. And then I read one randomly in February, I believe. So that bit of the stat's quite random because I feel like I don't really read many middle grade books, but also I do. In terms of these stats, I would like to read more adult books, but at the same time, if I'm not really in the mood for reading, picking up YA books, it's just like quicker to read, isn't it? But I do want to get through some more of my like non-fiction-y polar books because I absolutely love that, and I will just smash through them as well, even though they're adult and non-fiction. So yeah, I feel like that's something that I want to read more of, but in general, that's cool. That's what I've been reading. I don't care. So next up, I read 29 physical books and 1 ebook. So my 1 ebook was last month. If you watched my March wrap up, you would have seen I read Proud. In my head, I'm always like, is it Proud? Is it Pride? Is it Proud? Is it Pride? I'm pretty sure it's Proud. And I read that one because I was doing a readathon and the prompt for that book was read a book that was in the Heartstopper TV show, and I looked through all of them books and I would read them. I had no interest in reading them, or was just like not going to pay money for the books even though some of them were interesting. But Proud I found on my library app, so that's why I read that one. But I'm also not mad at like reading more ebooks or whatever. I just generally am reading more of my own books, apart from in April. You will see on my wrap up that I've been reading quite a lot of library books in April, so you'll see. You will see, but they're still physical, so it still doesn't mean anything to this specific fact. Moving on, we have the author, and with the authors, with these 2 stats, I'm pretty like quite on par with in both of them, even though I've not actively been trying to like read the same. So with gender, I have read 13 female authors, 11 male authors, 3 books with multiple authors, and 3 non-binary. So first of all, how I do those stats is the male and female ones are obvious. If you're male, you're in the male section. If you're female, you're in the female section. If you're trans, you're in the male or the female section, whichever one that you are. With the multiple, it's just like comics, graphic novels, manga. When there's multiple authors and like one of them's male, one of them's female, 2 of them's male, one of them, you know what I mean? It goes in multiple. Non-binary, I do have like slightly different criteria for that one. So if it is a book that's written by multiple authors but one of them is non-binary, I put it in the non-binary because it shows like, just so I can see what rep I have there. So even though there's multiple authors, maybe there's a non-binary author and also a female author, I won't put it in multiple, I'll put it in non-binary. There you go, that's just some words. Do with them what you will. Next up is authors, and this is race. And with that one, I've read 14 white authors, 10 BIPOC authors, and 6 that are both. Again, both. You got your white authors and you got BIPOC authors in the same piece of media. That's how I do that stat. Quite self-explanatory. Series. I'm not doing the best with series. I do have a list in my journal, which if you like journals, I'm going to do a video of like the first quarter of my journal. So watch out for that if you really want to. But in my journal I have a couple of pages where it lists all of the series that I've already started, and then like I can just mark off if I've read any more. I've continued 4 series so far. It's not the best, not the worst, it's not the whatever's is. I have done some. I don't have a specific goal to like do however many in the year, but maybe I could do more. 4. I could do more with that. With hauled books, I didn't actually do a goals video for this year. I was gonna, but then at the beginning of the year I was just like, couldn't be asked to film any videos, so then I didn't do my goals video. But it's pretty much the same every year, so then it's also like, what's the point? But one of my goals that I always have every year is to read at least half of the books that I haul in that year, so I'm getting my TBR down and I'm not just buying books and then not reading them. So far I've hauled 23 books and I've read 61% of them, which is 14. So decent. Again, I keep coming back to them. Like these World Book Day ones, I bought 7 of them and then I read them like 2 days later for a vlog, so it evens out. But yeah, 61%, boom. I also, at like the beginning half of the year, I try and read more of them because I know in October it's my birthday and in December it's Christmas obviously. So like the whole books get more and there's less time to read them. So I try and read more. So that figure evens out. If I read 70% and then it's my birthday in October and I get loads of books, hopefully I'll still be hitting that 50%. You know what I mean? You do know what I mean. It's not that hard to understand. Next up. This is also a stat where I'm doing it, but I don't have a goal, like an end goal. So I have been like keeping track of my owned TBR, but I don't have any specific goal like, oh, I want to read or only have this many books at the end of my TBR. It's just something that I'm keeping an eye on just for fun, because stats are fun. So at the beginning of the year I had 164 books on my physical owned TBR. And now I have 151. So I've took 13 books. Let me just make sure the maths are right. 13 books off my physical TBR, which is cool. It doesn't mean anything. I'm not trying to hit any sort of goal. It's just something that I like to keep track of, just for fun. So yes. And then the last stat I have on here, I'm sure you'll be glad to know, so you can go, is I have my 2023 TBR that I have. I just have 23 books. They were just random books. There was no rhyme or reason. I just picked 23 random books off my TBR, put them in a list in my journal. Again, if you want to see that, it is coming. And so far I've read 6 of them, which is pretty much bang on exactly where I need to be, because 4 6s are 24 and then there's 23 books on that list, so like boom, I'm exactly where I need to be there. So yeah, those are all of the stats that I have for you today. I didn't even stop talking to put a video of the cats in, so I'll put it at the end here. So if you got this far, go you get all the fun cat content. It'll be here with you now. And other than that, let me know down below if you do stats just in general. Have you been keeping track of anything? Have you done like a first quarter check-in? This is actually my first time doing it, because the past few years I've done a year in thirds, so the first third of the year, then the middle, then the end. But I thought, you know what, I'll do it in quarters because people understand what quarters are, nobody cares about thirds. So yeah, here's my first quarter video ever. Let me know down below anything that you want to say. Like and subscribe if you want. Don't if you also want. And I'll see you in a few days with another video. It may perhaps be that journal video that I mentioned earlier. Maybe keep track. Maybe it will be. Bye.